Good. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa kulli man walahu wa ihtada bi hudah. Hayyakumullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He gathered us, either those who are here in the masjid or those watching and trying to seek some Islamic guidelines, may Allah gather us all in Jannah. Allahumma ameen, in heaven. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. My speech tonight, inshallah, is going to be not too long. And this is mainly if you are looking to get married. That's good for those who are looking for potential spouses, good for any father or mother, those who are watching online. Islamic guidelines, general guidelines of how to choose your potential spouse based on the Islamic guidelines, inshallah. After praising Allah and thinking and sending the best of peace and blessings to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we start. In Islam, family is very important. Establishing the right family would lead to good and strong society. And Islam pays equal attention to the well-being of individuals as well as the communities. Many civilizations pay attention to one side or the other. Unless you look at it holistically from all aspects, we will never be fully successful in all aspects. We as humans are very complicated and we have a lot of needs. We have the emotional needs. There are so many factors that define our very existence and how can we make the best out of it. This is how Islam looks at it in general. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, talking about Iman, we may think about it linear. Iman is what? Oh, believing in Allah or having faith. Iman has so many parts. Shu'ab. Are you aware of the hadith of Shu'ab al-Iman? Branches of Iman. Iman is a huge thing that's full of, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, 60 some or 70 some branches, parts. Obviously, the most important of it is La ilaha illallah. And then he said, the least of it is to remove a harmful item from the way, something that could hurt others on the road, on the way, on the street. And one part of Iman is al-haya, is to be modest enough and be shy from doing anything bad or wrong. And it involves so many of these. The goal of Islam is to try to achieve all of these as much as possible. Much of the branches of faith are built, inculcated, cherished in the family from the beginning. One piece from the father, another piece from the mother, from the uncle, from the aunts, from the family, from the masjid, from the society, from the school. The whole society should be helping to invest into that person and that individual and that family, and so we have the successful society at the end. So it is so important to really build the right family based on the right essence. Islam gives us the right essence. Well, first of all, anyone can marry anyone. You don't want to follow any of these. We have very little rules. The only rule I can think of, a couple of them, is for Muslim woman, she can marry only a Muslim man. That's a restriction there. Other than this, not talking about the procedures, there are the procedures having 2 witnesses, having the wali, this and that. But other than this, in terms of legality, validity, if anybody chooses anyone else to get married to, okay, that's good. But there are guidelines Islam is trying to ensure, to provide so as to ensure the success of this relationship. There are so many of them. The most important of all, everybody knows. But what's really of utmost importance is not knowing them, is being willing to adopt them and implement and execute them. We all know that the 2 conditions or the 2 main fundamental foundations of that choice, and they both apply for choosing the bride or the groom, the man, they are good in both cases. What are these? I'm sure everybody knows that. Ad-Din wa al-Khuluq, right? Deen, having a religious, righteous, good religious person who has akhlaq, mannerisms, good character, good deen. These are the two conditions mentioned in so many ahadith. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam addressing the girls or the family, because in Islam it's a family decision. Guidelines, family decision. If the person of deen and khuluq proposes to you, then accept him. You got the right one. Otherwise, if you don't do it, there will be a great fasadun, fitnatun fil ardi wa fasadun arid. There will be fitna and great turmoil. The foundation or the basis of the standard that we choose based upon actually varies from culture to culture, from society to society, from time to time. Nowadays, we look at al-makan al-ijtima'iyya, the social status. We added to it the scientific status, what kind of knowledge, education, money. All of these could be valid reasons, no problem. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam addressing the men, for example, he said, "Tunkahul mar'atu li arba'." A woman could be married for 4 things. Usually, most of the things that were common at this time that would make men interested in women, boys interested in girls, either her money, family lineage, what family she came from, the class or family, beauty, how beautiful, or deen, how religious and righteous. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Fadfar bidhat ad-din." What is the meaning of dhafar in Arabic? Dhafar, winning, like, right? You win the one of the deen, because that is the foundation. All of these could be good standards to look at, to consider, not to avoid, not to ignore. But unless the deen is there, you can, because of the deen, you can let go of some of these, right? Sometimes we look only nowadays at the shape. Some people, how the look from outside is the most important thing. Well, it's one of the factors, but it should not be the factor, the main factor. Money, status, what have you, that is important, but it should not be the one and only. Why? Because in one hadith, if you marry them for their money, for example, for how rich, she got a good job, maybe yutghihunna, it will make them transgress. It will make them, their money will make them this or that, right? Beauty changes. After some time, you're not going to be always the same, man or woman. You're going to have these wrinkles and old age. And so these things change. What does not change is the deen. He has the right character, right? And you have to look into that and test that, and we will talk about this in a little bit. Not anybody who says, I have deen, or who looks like they have the deen, you get with. So you could choose based on any of these standards, family, add this factor, all of them will be good. Also, Islam would pay attention to the status. Well, all of us are equal. By birth, by coming, we are all equal, right? We have the freedom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us all equal in the essence of the creation. But when we come to this life, we acquire things. When we acquire things, we become different. Allah said, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. In the Quran, Allah said, tell them, are they equal, those who know and those who do not know, those who got the knowledge and those who do not get the knowledge? So some people acquired certain knowledge that would make them better than others who did not acquire that. So there are so many things. People acquire money, people acquire this or that. So that would put us at different levels. We are not all, because some people might mix up things. Oh, in Islam, you have to be compatible in terms of family, in terms of that. Aren't we talking about equality in Islam and everybody is equally the same? Yes, everybody is equally the same by default. But in terms of how much you acquire, you cannot put somebody who got that much into education level with somebody who is at that level. They are at 2 different levels. And if you say they are both equally the same, there is something wrong in the way you look at it. People are different in so many factors. Am I right? Am I right? We're different. We come at different levels, different, even in the hikmah, in the wisdom. Not everybody is the same. Somebody is so smart at this level, somebody is good at that level, but not to that level. So compatibility is what many scholars is talking about based on Islamic factors, to be compatible, to choose somebody who is close to you in the family level, not from the relatives, but I mean the same level, so you will have some kind of common things to talk about, common things to share, common values to teach. تكافؤ الديني, compatibility in terms of deen comes number one. Compatibility in terms of thoughts, this thought process, education, family, even health-wise, age. All of these are important. Don't forget, I said in the beginning, if anybody chooses to marry anybody, that's their choice, good. But don't tell me that somebody who is 90 or 70 some and choosing a man who is 20, that's it looks okay from all aspects. It does not look like 100% okay. Just as an example, for a marriage to be successful, we have to achieve as much as we can of these compatibility factors. The most important of all, the essence of all, is ad-din wal khuluq. Why? Because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you get the one of the deen for your daughter, the man who has the deen, if he likes her, it's good. If something happened, he would not make dhulm, he would not oppress her, right? Because the deen will put the person on track, or should do so. The person will know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough to not make dhulm. Same applies to the woman. If you choose the one of the deen, she will protect you. When you leave, you would know that she is trustworthy because she fears Allah, not only you. Because, she does not just respect you when you're there and you're gone. No, there is deen. If there is deen, she will be trustworthy enough. She will be having some other values connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only to you. Also, these factors are there, listidamat al-nikah, to make sure that the marriage will continue. We don't look at it only from a physical perspective or sentiments and emotions. We look at it, Islam looks at it from all aspects. Because how many times we have seen, you watching me and you are here, you have seen people loving each other to death. And then they get married, and then what happened? I know at least several cases. And then what happened? Divorce, fights. What happened? Their story everybody knows of. They loved each other. So it doesn't look like that kind of love. First of all, I don't call it love. We talk about this in a bit. But that kind of attraction, that's how I call it, was probably not the ultimate foundation for that kind of marriage. Those who have successful marriage, they would know what I'm talking about. And maybe we can, I was thinking of a program to invite some brothers and sisters, couples, to talk to us who have been together for, mashallah, over 20 or 30 years. They can share with us some of these key elements of the success of their marriage. But I would assume that love does not come before marriage. And I'm sorry that if I disagree with many of you. What comes before marriage is, I look at some of the factors. Yes, that person qualifies. I am attracted to that person. I like what I see from that person. He appeals to me. She appeals to me. Love is way broader than this. Maybe the older brothers and sisters can agree with me. It builds, it's a process. It's a seed. You choose the right seed. And for that seed, you choose the right soil, right? And then you put that seed into that soil, give it time, give it right conditions, right environment, let it grow. It will be weak in the beginning. It will take time. Give it water, give it fertilizers, weed out bad things that can affect it, let it grow, and it will, with time, it will grow, it will be stronger. They will end up, even science is talking about this. I don't know how to fully explain it, but I have seen it in many cases. They synchronize in such a way that the same exact thing she is thinking right now, he is thinking without saying a word. I know what I'm talking about. So that is love. It gets to that level. It grows up. It's built up. You build it up together by ishra, we call it in Arabic. Good company. Good. You show good akhlaq and be patient. And it does not go, successful marriage does not go only like at the top, peace and you know, the problem is sometimes we have that stereotype about marriage and love or love in specific, from the Hollywood movies and from some of these romantic stories, right? That love is that you have to hold me certain how, and you say certain words to me, and we have those romantic pictures, and we sit on the coastline at the sunset, drinking this or doing that or dancing that. Well, all of that is good. You may do it, but love in itself is way deeper as a meaning. Is way deeper than this. It is your soul and spirit getting into be hooked up with the soul and spirit of someone else in such a way that in many cases I have seen myself. The husband dies, the wife would die the next week or maybe next day sometime, or vice versa. It's just like my soul is dying if my soul mate dies. It doesn't have to be like this all the time, but because I've seen some cases, that's love. That's love. That's connection, real connection. How to make it? This is the question. How to choose the right person. Number one, be practical. I will be practical. Number one, if you think you can make it yourself 100%, I am sorry that you to say that you cannot by yourself. I will say, make dua to Allah. This is the single most important decision in your life, is who to be with. Because as Muslims, we don't look at it as just a relationship. Let's be together. Let's try. It works out. It doesn't work out. No. This is a soulmate. This is sharik al-haya, partner. She's going to be my partner in life. Make dua to Allah to choose the right person for you. Make istikhara if you see somebody. Go through the process, the Islamic process of, vetting that person in a nice way. Khitbah or pre-marriage engagement. Pre-marriage engagement is just the promise of marriage, no physical contact, but get to know that person. Make lots and lots and lots of prayers and dua to Allah. Show Allah that it's not my choice, Ya Allah, it's not, you choose for me. And then you go ahead and do your homework. Do your homework. My advice is, yes, it's your wife, it's your marriage, it's your life, but get the family involved. In Islam, we have various cultures, but the culture of Islam, if I may use this, or what Islam is propagating is, yes, she's going to be your wife, he's going to be your husband, but guess what? Those children will have a grandfather. They will have a grandmother. They have to have some kind of a say. Not to say that they have to dictate. No, this is the message for the parents. Don't dictate. Facilitate. Help. Guide. Not to dictate, but also for the boys and girls, what we have here in America is individualism. Me, the whole world is serving me. My father should work day and night for so many years for me. Now I get to the point to make decisions. Bye-bye, father. Bye-bye. Ma'as-salama. See you later. No, it doesn't work like this. You got to get them involved. One practical message for sisters. You got to understand yourself. Sisters, your emotionals, your very existence is about, you're soft. You're about sentiments and emotions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, that is an advantage for you. But if you do not get it the right way, if you don't understand who you are, I'm sorry to say that you can be easily tricked, if I may say. Right? How many times we see, and there's nothing wrong with girls having that, but it might make you overcome, not seeing everything else. If you just listen to those couple of nice words from that boy and think he is gonna be your life, you're gonna die without him. I tell you what, believe it or not, you're not gonna die without nobody. You won't. Just make sure you make a rational decision, guided decision, that it's not only, by emotions or by the looks or by how cute, how nice. Many girls thought of other boys as the cutest beings to ever exist. And then you see them at the end in the courts fighting like street guys or something. So choose the right essence. Know that you will be attracted girls. And when you are attracted, your decision might not be 100% clear. That's why backup or family come to help investigate, help you think if that's the right choice or not. You also give yourself the time and think rationally. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Also know that in Islam, that's for girls, you are choosing the captain of your ship. You're going into a board of a ship. Some people call it the golden cage, right? The golden cage. I don't like the word cage. But anyways, you are choosing your man, your leader, the one who will, be the captain for that ship. You have the right to elect that person or choose that person or not from the beginning. So make sure that you choose the right person who will be a good father for your kids, a good husband for you, a good son-in-law for your father and for the rest of the family, somebody that will lead you to Allah, somebody who will help you grow in Iman. Same way for the boys. Choose somebody, ask yourself that question, is that girl going to take me closer to Allah? Going to help me in this dunya and in the akhirah in such a way that I fully trust her because of her deen. If I leave the town, I'll trust her. She is wise and smart enough that I can really choose that person to be with me, or is it all about how nice she looks and talks and everything? Family, the period of pre-marriage engagement. When I say engagement in the culture here is so different from the engagement or khitbah. Let me use the Islamic term khitbah. Khitbah in Islam is a period before you do the nikah. Nikah is from the time you do the nikah, which is the contract of marriage, your husband and wife. Before you do that, there is this period that could be short or long. Usually everything here is short, fast. Even that, many people skip that. They come, we need to get married. And some are already having kids and they need to do the marriage. No, in Islam, you need to go. The man approaches the family of the girl and asks for her hand in marriage in a respectful way. And then she would be consulted, do you approve of him or not? And then the family turn will come to investigate that person. Is that the right queen, the right king for our queen or not? Check on him, ask about him, his family, his qualifications, right? If you apply for a college, well, they get all your history and everything. If you apply for a job, that is no less of an importance, making sure that this is the right person. Now it's your turn, set with each other. At this point, you are not husband and wife. You cannot have any physical contact. You are two strangers who are trying to discover each other for marriage. Talk to each other. My advice at this point, don't try to beautify yourself more than like in the way you speak naturally, normally. Speak up your thoughts, what your plans, and talk about just don't get to the deep details, but talk about general things. And if you find both of them find, mashallah, they are compatible, alhamdulillah, they can proceed from there. It can take 2 months, it can take a year, it can take more or less, but this is very important time. Families, I know there are so many cultures involved, the subcontinent, the Arab, even the American, so many cultures, north, south, east, west, good, but take only what's compatible with Islam. Again, the role of parents is to help, is to support, is to make things, to help them basically get together. Allah said in the Quran, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ, those who are single from amongst you, make sure they get married, facilitate them, right? Don't look at conditions like, oh, it's only money, they are not at our level financially. But Allah said, إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء, if they are poor, Allah will give them from His bounties. Actually, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud will say, if you want to be rich, get married. Allah promised. He said, if they are poor, Allah might make them يغنيهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will suffice them and provide for them. One of the elements in this specific culture, or in the West in general, like I think people are thinking I have to be, what's his name, Jeff Bezos or something, or Elon Musk before they can get married. I cannot afford it. I have to have a house that's fully paid for and a job that's stable, and I have to have that much in the bank. Wait a minute. No. Yes, you have to have the minimum, requirements of, but in the beginning of your life, it's going to take you too much to, maybe you can build this life together. Yes, be realistic, but don't wait. There's no specific age for marriage in Islam. You define it, but the earlier, the better. The earlier in the life that we live in nowadays, the better. I'm almost done. I will take all the questions, inshallah. Feel free to put the questions. Those who are watching on Zoom, put it in Zoom. Those who are watching YouTube or other outlets, feel free to put them there. I'll take your question in just a second. So, what I was saying again? Yeah, so you don't have to be so rich to get married. Be realistic. You know, get to the decent level and then build your life together. The earlier the better. Not too early, but not too late either. You know, late 20s and late in 30s and late 30s. Nature instinct for, let's look at the nature. Many times in the Quran, Allah will give us examples of what? Examples of animals, right? Allah, there's a surah in the Quran called the honeybees, another surah called the ants, the spider, in the Quran, right? Allah gives us examples with nature, things that follow instinct. They follow instinct, they don't change. They just follow the plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have two little birds, they're born, they hatch in your cage. Then by the time they reach maturity, they don't delay, they don't wait. They just get it. I'm not saying that once you reach puberty, you do marriage, but somewhere there, not too far. I know the life we live nowadays is very complicated, and there's high school and there's college, and they have to come, they have to work, but there is a need, a natural instinct inside of you, if you are a boy or if you are a girl. If you don't have it, there's something wrong with you. It's the natural instinct there. Yes, if you cannot afford to get married, you fast and you suppress it somehow. But for how long? I'm afraid you suppress it for too long until you're too old. So be realistic about it. Know that marriage is part of your iman. Man tazawwaja. There's a hadith talking about that if you get married, you actually completed half of your deen. So fear Allah as far as the other half. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised for those who, I cannot afford it now, I cannot afford it now. And same for the kids. Before I have kids, I have to afford them. Yes, think realistically, but the term affordability here is not the right way. You don't have to have everything before you get the child, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send the child and would send the rizq as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised, the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 3 people, Allah promised He will support them. Haqqun ala Allah. It's a must on Allah. Allah made it on Himself, a promise on Himself to support. One of them, وَالنَّاكِحُ الَّذِي يُرِيدُ الْعَفَافِ. And the person who is seeking nikah to fulfill that desire, or to seek afaf, to be, afif, which is modest, to seek modesty and fulfillment of that in the right way, inshallah. I think, inshallah, that should be enough. If anybody has any question, I can take the questions right now, inshallah. How do you find your soulmate? I think that's what we talked about. What is the right way to approach a potential family first, or ask them? That's a good question. What is the right way to approach? Now, I think I have the right person, how to approach. There's no standard answer for this. Do you have a common friend? Maybe you have a common friend in between. You can test the waters, as they say, because if it's big no from the beginning, khalas, you don't have to waste your time and get families involved, and it might involve some kind of embarrassment. It could be anything else. It could be if they are together in college or something, maybe in a modest, nice way, you can test the water by just asking, somehow. It could be through families. If families know each other, maybe they will have their own ways of finding out. But it's so simple. I know it's kind of a little embarrassing, but simple. You're seeking the halal. You're seeking the right way. Find out a way to see if there is an initial acceptance, and if so, take your family, get to the houses from the doors and ask the family for the hand of the girl, and get there and talk to the father, talk to the wali, and the wali will talk to his daughter and see if she accepts, and then you go from there, inshallah, if that makes sense. Can Hispanic people come to your religion? Yeah, definitely. Everybody is welcome to religion. It's your religion. It's the religion of Allah that He introduced and He gave to His creation. Allah is not the God of Arabs or Indians or Pakistanis. Allah is the God of all, the maker of all. He loves all. So, Jonathan, please feel free to contact us and we'll be ready to answer your questions and help you if you want to proceed with that, inshallah. The final point you made about the promises Allah made to Himself. Can you repeat what you just said? Yeah, Allah promised 3 categories of people. Allah promised that He will support. One of them is the seeker of marriage. Somebody is seeking marriage, to get married. Allah promised He will financially support that person. I have tested myself. I have seen it with many people. You just start the process of getting married and you see a job coming or a raise in the job. That is, you will see. Just trust Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about, it's so close, but He's talking about children. Some people in the past, they used to even brutal ways. Brutal people kill their children because they cannot afford them. Allah said, نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُهُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ. Or some people, they did not want to have children because they thought they cannot afford them. Allah said, we provide for them and for you. One of the goals of Islam, of us Muslims, is to reproduce. And we are even encouraged to produce more, to have more kids, as long as we are capable of teaching them and passing the baton to them and raising them up in the right way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised He will support anybody who's trying to get married. What is, I want to ask what the recommended halal time of getting to know someone. Recommended, you choose. I mean, you have the instinct, you have the feel of that you need to be with somebody. This is the time. This is the time. You can, yes, you can suppress it with fasting, with other things, but if you think you're gonna think of it the bad way, commit zina, get with somebody else not in the right way, this is the time that you have to get married, if you can afford it. That's the time to think about that. I would say do not delay. I'm not here to encourage people to go without rationally thinking about that and just run into marriage, but don't think you have to have that much money, ton of money and job. Start your life. Don't worry much. Both of you can start and can help each other build your life together, inshallah. Family also should be supportive, financially supportive at the beginning, because you will do the same with your kids later on, inshallah. The thought of raising children in the future is very scary, and sometimes it feels very hopeless that a marriage and children will stay pure with all of the difficulties in the world. Not an excuse at all. I totally understand. We have so many challenges in the world, but it does not mean that it's very challenging to raise kids right now that you don't have kids. What you need to do is do your best. Choose the right husband, choose the right wife, choose the right spouse in general. Have the foundation ready, put the time, put the effort, make a lot of dua, but put the time and effort. I don't know. I know the life we live nowadays is so tough, but a mother who would throw their kids into daycare many hours every day with someone else teaching them, they're not going to be the same like mothers. They're never going to be the same like their own mothers. Nobody will substitute the role of father. Fathers are working day and night, weekends, no time for the family. What kind of kids do you expect? But if you invest in them, if you play with them, if you teach them from the beginning, give them attention, give them time, both of you together, then most likely, inshallah, you will have good children who will carry you when you grow up. You will see them by your side, carrying you and helping you and supporting you. And that is, you know, one of the parts of our faith. What if you want to get married but feel like you have more work to do with your connection and love for Allah first? No contradiction. There is no contradiction. Why do we think that when we get married that we're not going to be loving Allah? You can, instead of praying alone at night, you can have jama'ah. You can have somebody else to pray with you, and you'll be praying jama'ah and praying jama'ah 27 times more, right? One way is you will be patient with her, or she will be patient with you, and you'll get a lot of reward for being patient, right? So no, actually having a family, having a husband or wife, spouse, and then children Every time you put a piece of food in her mouth, that's the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have sadaqah. That's a free sadaqah. As you're eating, you know, this romantic thing, get the fork, give her some food directly into her mouth. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, sadaqah. And I give you one extra hadith, authentic, you know it, right? Every time you have intimacy, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that's sadaqah. Just have the intention. وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. So I don't think you can achieve these sadaqat or gain these sadaqat without marriage. So maybe marriage can help you, if you choose the right person, can help you be better in your faith. How can you trust yourself to make the right decision if your priorities change as you grow up? That's hesitation. That's one of the things that we really need to rule out. One post I saw today, and it really stays with me. Somebody said, I was thinking about this, buying this. It's the point itself is what I'm quoting here. And I was thinking and rethinking until somebody went ahead and bought it already. I was thinking somebody offered to be a partner with me to start a business. That's in the post on social media. Somebody was saying, one of my friends suggested to me to be a partner with him in some kind of business. And I was calculating and recalculating and giving myself time, hesitating basically, until another friend partnered with him. And now they have a series, they had the most successful business in town and making tons of money. Point is, yes, make up your mind and pray to Allah and make your dua and pray istikhara and move ahead. فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Have the determination and put your trust in Allah and move on. If your priorities change later on, if you have the right person will always be compatible with you. We try to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to being with you if life changes or so. I think, unless we have any other questions, make quick dua and we conclude, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. Feel free also to leave, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and maybe I can get to that later, inshallah. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Oh Allah, gather us in Jannah, ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, those who are not married, choose the righteous spouses for them, ya Rabbil Alameen. Help them make the right decision to choose the right spouse for them, ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma hayyi lana min amrina rashada. Allahumma ij'alna min ibadika as-su'ada. Allahumma ijma'na jami'an fi jannatika. Gather us all in your Jannah, in heaven, برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وإياكم.